my name is Holly and today I'm going to be making cookies courtesy of the Fussy Vegans. Now, Amy at the Fussy Vegans has delivered me all of the ingredients in front, but I have no recipe to follow, so it's a bit of a challenge. I've been given a photograph of the cookies and that's it. So these have all been pre-weighed or measured to help a little bit, but I don't know which order they're going to go in, and I also don't know what all of them are. So I was going to start off by going through, and I've not cheated, I've not looked at these beforehand, but I'm now going to find out what they all are. So I've separated them out into wet and dry ingredients, because with most cooking I would always separate the wet and the dry. So it looks like we have some butter, which is obviously not butter because it's vegan, so I'm guessing this is some kind of vegetable substitute, oil based, which I actually prefer in cooking because the oil definitely makes most bakes lighter. So each different oil base is slightly different, but I like that. So second, I must admit, when I first looked at this, because this is obviously a reused container, it has ground cinnamon, and I did think I have never seen liquid cinnamon in my life, but now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, we are making cookies, so this is probably vanilla essence, and I'm going to take smell it because that will help. Yeah, that's definitely vanilla essence, so that's good. Okay, so the final wet ingredient is this gooey stuff. I don't know what this is really, so again I'm going to smell it. Now it smells quite fruity and it smells a bit like an apple crumble, so I'm guessing this is some kind of apple sauce or compote or something like that. Now I don't know if this is for flavour or, bearing in mind this is vegan, if I was going to make cookies normally, I would put an egg in, and this has similar consistency to egg, so I don't know if this is one of those magic ingredients that can replace an egg, so we'll see. I'll use it as an egg as I would in a normal recipe. Then don't need to smell these, but we've got flour, 2 types of sugar, brown and white, which I'm kind of pleased about because I actually prefer cookies with brown and white mix in there, because the higher molasses content of the brown kind of gives you a chewier cookie, and my preference is for that, whereas the white kind of holds it together better, so it's nice to have a mixture. And then finally we have some powder in here. Now purely because there's a small amount, I'm guessing this is either baking powder or baking soda, and well, regardless of what I smell or anything, I'm not going to be able to work out what that is myself, so I'm kind of hoping it's baking soda because I prefer baking soda in cookies because I like a flatter cookie. But then again, because we haven't got the egg, maybe this is baking powder. Plus I don't know if this is plain or self-raising flour, so that could go either way, but I will use that with that. And then finally I have an array of chocolate items. Now in the picture that Amy gave me, there in the middle of the cookie there is a big button, so I'm guessing that these are for that part, and then I think these are just to be folded into the cookie. Now I personally don't like white or dark chocolate. I'm very fussy when it comes to chocolate. I only like milk chocolate, but understand these are vegan, and these are vegan white chocolate chips, and the dark chocolate obviously doesn't have the milk content in, so makes sense. Okay, so to begin with, I'm going to take my sugar and my butter, because whenever I usually make cookies I cream the sugar and the butter because I just find it gives a better consistency with cookies. So I'm going to pop these into here, go away and cream them because it can take a little while, and then I'll join you again. Right, okay, so now we've creamed the butter and sugar together, I'm going to add the rest of my wet ingredients. So normally if I was doing this with an egg, I'd put a tiny bit of flour in at this point to stop it curdling. Now I don't know if applesauce will do the same thing, but I don't think it's going to do any harm if I add a tiny bit, so I'm going to do that anyway. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. Then we'll put pour sauce in. Okay. And the vanilla that is in the ground cinnamon pot. Okay, I'm going to try and mix this by hand because I normally would, but I don't know how well it's going to incorporate, so we'll see. Now, I must admit, it smells a bit weird. And there are definitely chunks of apple, so even if it is just an egg substitute, I don't know if it will still taste of apples or not, but we'll see later. Give this a bit. Okay. No, that's incorporated okay. I don't think we need to do an electric whisk. That's what we have. So now I'm going to add my dry to my wet, and then the very last part I'll do is the chocolate. So normally I put all the dry together in one bowl, but as this is already kind of in a handy bowl, I'm just going to add the baking powder or baking soda, whatever it is, to the flour. Give that a bit of a shake. And pop it in here. Probably start off with half, just because I don't want flour going everywhere, even though it already has. Okay. And then I'll join you again to put it onto the tray. Okay, so I've now mixed everything together and added the chocolate chips, the white and dark ones, and left the buttons out. Now it's quite a stiff mixture, but obviously it can't be rolled or anything like that. So I'm just going to take out spoonfuls like this. I might be able to get a rough ball out of them, so we'll see. And ball them like that. Now I don't know how much these are going to spread, so I think I'm just going to do 4 on here, because I don't want them all merging into one another. So probably do 4 staggered like that, just to try and keep them separate. Okay. Tried to make them roughly the same size, but I'm not overly bothered about them being a little bit irregular. And then as the buttons are in the middle, I'm just going to pop them down and push it a tiny bit just so that they stick. They probably will move when they're cooking, but they'll be roughly in the middle. Oh, I just got my fingerprint on that one. Nice bit of preserved DNA until someone eats it. So it looks like that. And then I'm probably going to do the same for a few batches, and I put them in the oven that are already preheated earlier. I've put it to 160 because I am one of those people that pretty much just cooks everything at 180 regardless of what it is and just hopes for the best. But when it comes to baking, I find it's a little bit better to go for 160 just to give yourself a little bit more time to not mess it up. And with cookies, I'd prefer that they're a little bit underbaked than overbaked, because I like when they're softer. So soft and chewy is the way. So hopefully when we next see you, we'll have some cookies to try. So we've got 4 cookies out of the oven. Now I didn't know how long these needed to go in for. Most cookies take between about 8 and 12 minutes. So I went for 8. Checked on them at 8, thought they still looked a little bit pale, so left them in for another 2. So we've gone for 10 minutes, and I think they're brown enough for me. They will harden up a little bit as they cool, and I don't really want to take them any further. So that is the finished product, and I'm going to carry on making a few more batches. Okay, so we have our finished cookies, and Mr. Crosby has joined us for the tasting.
Hello.
Ready?
Yep.
What do you think?
Very nice. Very nice.
And actually, I don't know if it's just the bit that I took. I can't taste the apple, so if it was just there as a substitute, I think it's good because you can't really taste it. If it was meant to taste like apple, then it doesn't taste like apple. But if it's just as a substitute, I think they're good and they taste exactly the same as a regular cookie.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
You won't notice the difference at all.
And I actually, although I'm not a massive fan of dark chocolate, because the cookie's so sweet, I actually quite like the dark chocolate in it.
No, beautiful, really nice.
Good.
I wouldn't notice the difference at all. Thank you.